So in this video we're going to show you how to make a registration form for an event. Remember, for events or program registrations we collect a bunch of information and we're using our test event again, and in this video we're going to show you how to configure the questions that arrive in this test event. So first of all, we come back to our test event, and in our booking form option at the bottom, there is use the classic form builder, which allows you to drag things around here, and the formatting looks really bad if you use the classic form builder. But generically, we use the Elementor form builder. Once we've used the Elementor form builder, this event is currently using the Senior Academy registration form. So what we're going to do is we go back to ME Calendar. In our options, we go down to Form Builder. The forms for program registration are separate to the Fluent forms that we covered earlier. You'll see here's the Senior Academy form that we were using. So what we're going to do quickly for this one is we're going to duplicate it, because that allows us to use the same form, and we're going to change some stuff. So I'm going to change under Quick Edit, going to change the name to Brian's Test Form for Registrations, and you always need to give it a slug, so we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the website code or the website line that the website's going to assign to this form. It can be anything you like, such as I like puppies. All right, so again, we update it or save it. And then in a very peculiar way, because this is an extension of ME Calendar, we actually edit the form with Elementor, which goes against everything we said in the last video where we said don't ever use Elementor in an event. We're not editing the event, we're editing the form that is being attached to the event. It sits within the same system, but with Elementor you can do many, many, many more eloquent things. So let's jump into it. So what we have here is we've dragged the ME Form Builder control onto the page. We've done this some point in the past, and we've styled it accordingly. So if we look at the fonts, and we look under the typography, we've got our default fonts at play, and we look at the, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Let's go to labels, and we go to typography, and there you go. This is where you see the font, the Harbour Hockey font is in play. These are key cues that remind people it is our font and our branding. So we've got our form here. Let's just jump back. So we've got the options. Now, the form is made up of a series of rows of data. They can be interesting to work with at times, but first name and last name, like every form, it must have a first name, last name, and an email. So first name, last name, and email. You'll notice these two under name, first name, and email have this field type of MEC email. You must have MEC name and MEC email as options in field types. These two have to be used on every form. It's a way of making these two things mandatory. Because we keep in the database, our membership database, we keep first name and last name as separate fields. We add in an additional text type field, which is last name, which is how we get first name and last name. Now, if I want to swap those around, I can simply drag them like this, and they swap. So this is an ordering thing. Now, there is on this form, we are using something called half width. So I'm looking at the last name control. If I was to turn off half width, last name is now a full form width. And when you put two half widths together, they will actually line themselves up this way. You can do thirds, but remember again, much of our web browsing by our members is done on phones, so try not to put more than two fields on a row. So one of the things that I do notice about this form that's missing is a phone number. So what we're going to do is we're going to add an item down here. It does actually provide us a whole range: text, file, email, telephone, text area. We generally tend not to use telephone because telephone prescribes some very harsh controls on what is allowed. So we just use a text file, text option. And then in the label field, we're going to change this to phone number. Now, as I said before, we can drag it. It always adds the next row to the bottom. We're going to drag this up and put it underneath. We'll put it above email. There we go. Phone number. So now we're collecting the phone number from every person. You'll notice there is no red star next to it, so it's not currently a mandatory field. So what we can do is slide that down and go mandatory. That's now done. Now, the slightly more complex options, these fields are called text areas. Apologies, that is the text area there. So do you have any medical conditions we should be aware of? These fields, these are called an agreement type, so a text box. And what we've done here is we type in this text, I consent to NHHA purchasing puppies. Spelling's not great. There we go, purchasing puppies. This one's very, very simple because it's a text box. We typically use this for our consent for photography. And when you duplicate in a form, it carries a lot of this stuff through, so you don't have to do it again, and then you tweak this before you attach it. So it's much easier to tweak a form than rebuild it because there is a little bit of fiddling around. Now, in the terms and conditions, this one is quite different and requires a little bit of code. So this is an agreement type, which is what gives us the text box, and it says I agree to the, and then there is the special code here, which is explained in this next row. Where you put that special code, it's going to show a link, and it's going to link to a page that exists somewhere. So there is just a page in the back end of the database that says program terms and conditions. And that is a page you can go and edit, but remember, if you edit that page, you edit that page for every single program because every program links to this terms and conditions, and so we shouldn't be editing that without a lot of very careful consideration. But that is how you link information to another page that they agree to. And then at the bottom we have the vaccination statement, and it's as simple as it's just a very long text string, and again it's a checkbox. These have been set to required so that you cannot pass and you will not be able to submit the form until you have ticked all of these. And that is how we build the form. Although it's laid out like this is not how it looks in the end. In terms of this page, this is just a header and a footer that is added to editing the form. All we're doing here is editing the form. If I wanted to change these fields for what is your position, I go to the what is your position menu option. It's a drop-down type, and here are the field options. So puppies. And now I should have puppies. It is as simple as that. Information that is collected here, first name, last name, phone number, email, this information is passed over and into the Sprout database system automatically as well. So we update our form. Remember, this is just a form, what we call a form builder. It says it's live, ignore that. Now, in our test event, remember we had the Senior Academy form. And at the moment, in this list, here are all the forms that we've made over the past year the website's been running. In this list, of course, you can't see my form, which was called Brian's test form. You can see the name there for registrations. You can't see it because I haven't reloaded this page. Remember, website pages, we need to reload them to refresh the information. And so when this refreshes, and sometimes it can take a little bit with the event thing, we come back down and we go to our booking form. We're in our Elementor form builder again, and now you can see Brian's test form for registrations. And we select that form, and that's how we attach the set of questions and registration information we collect to the program. Again, nothing happens until we hit update, so we update it. It says your post is updated, view your event. We look at that in another tab. Now we'll go register here. This is our test event. Go next. Now you can see all of our options here, and you'll see the phone numbers back, and under here what we expect to see is puppies. So this is how we update our form. It's very simple. Ignore the option 1, option 2. I'll take these two out. It's a system setting which I need to turn off, but it's very simple, and that's all we do. This is how we configure the information we're collecting, and we can ask individual registrations as many questions as we want. For every ticket that a registrant or a purchaser buys or registers for, it will collect this information. So under our registration option here, if I said I want 3 tickets because I have 3 children coming to a program, it'll give me individual 1, individual 2, and individual 3. So it collects all of that information separately. All of that information goes into the booking lists. So if you wanted to have a look at the Brian's test at the test event 2022 list of registrants after this purchase, you would see 3 names. They don't go in as one entry, they go in as 3 individual entrants. And that is how we configure the booking forms. Everything is done through the back end of the website under ME Calendar Form Builder. Hopefully that helps.